What's happening? Let's do that again. What's happening, BiggerPockets? This is Matt Faircloth. So today we're going to talk about looking out of state for rental deals. And I know there's a great book by my good friend David Green on investing out of state, but I wanted to give you guys my take on it because we buy like mid-sized multi and apartment buildings and stuff like that. So this is my perspective on buying out of state. But you should definitely check out David's book to hear a ton more on buying out of state. But here's what I think about it. So maybe you live in Northern California or in New York City or in areas that are super expensive and it's hard to buy around where you live. I firmly believe in the concept of acres of diamonds. I talk about it in my book, Raising Private Capital, about acres of diamonds, meaning there's a fortune in your own backyard. But if you really can't find what you're looking for around where you are, you might want to start shopping out of state, and that's okay. There's a lot of folks that shop out of state. I buy properties that are not near where I live. And that, so you can do it. But here's what you need to consider when you're starting to shop out of state, okay? Now, first thing first, before goes beyond this, is establish what you're looking for, okay? To establish like your goals and your criteria, okay? You have to do this. You cannot just, okay, I live in Northern California, I'm gonna go buy a rental deal, and I'm gonna just search all over the US for a rental deal. You'd probably have shiny nickel syndrome and just, new properties are going to come at you left and right and you're going to get distracted. You maybe get a good deal and you might not. But you've got to define your search criteria. Okay, first what I mean by that is, are you looking for a small multi? How big? Are you looking for a single family home? Great. What's the rent and purchase price range you're looking at, okay? How much money can you bring to the table if you're spending your own money? If you're going to do real estate syndications, like get a bunch of investors together to come with you, or maybe have a few partners, like a small partnership to buy these deals. Define exactly what price point you want to be at and what deal size. So that determines like price, the deal size. Okay, and most importantly, this is the biggest one, is the geography, right? I was at a conference and I met somebody and he's like, oh, I'm looking to buy out of state because things are too expensive where I am. And I said, okay, that's great, good to hear. What markets are you looking in? And he goes, we're looking in 25 markets right now. And I was like, that's too many markets. You don't need 25 markets to find a good deal. There are a ton of great markets around the U.S. So you should find the geography you want to be in, but I would pick like maybe 1 to 3 markets that you want to be in, okay? And the factors for driving that, for us anyway, are things like jobs and, most importantly, boots on the ground. Like, who do I know that lives or is like an advocate of mine that I could connect with that's near the property? They can go check it out for me and stuff like that. David talks about a ton of that in his book about developing local advocates and that. So the geography, I go job growth. If it's an area of high employment, where there's diverse employment, where there's people that are moving there for jobs, then I definitely, that's it. And like I said, you got to have boots on the ground. I mean, maybe it's a town. It ought to be a town you know fairly well. If you've never been to Topeka, Kansas, and you've never done anything in Topeka, Kansas, never even really heard it, don't know too much about it, but a friend of yours told you it's a good place to look for rental properties, you want to do a lot more homework and meet some people there, or maybe put yourself on an airplane to go out there and check it out first before you go start looking for deals in Topeka, Kansas, to build your network there. Okay. Try the town you grew up in. If that's a town that might be worth looking into. Maybe you have some old contacts there. Try the place where you went to college, or a place where you visited a lot, or a place where you used to live, where you've got some local roots. And if I tell you, hey, I've got a deal at 123 Main Street, you said, oh well, 123 Main Street's a great neighborhood because I know this is a coffee shop around the corner I used to go to, right? So maybe an area where you've got some personal, like a footprint for yourself there, or even an area where you've got some contacts. If you don't have that, you need to get on BiggerPockets aggressively and find people that are in the markets you're targeting and build relationship with them so that they can help you find deals. Okay, so that's it on the geography. What else do I want to talk about? I'll talk about management next. Okay, you need to, because obviously it's remote. You would be absolutely silly to go buy a rental property that is states away from you, okay, and expect to manage it yourself. It's self-managing is okay if it's around you, but unless you've got phenomenal systems in place, self-management needs to be done by a third party that's at the property, okay? So I can tell you this is a fact for big deals, small deals, whatever it is. The best laid plan for a rental property will get absolutely thrown out the window if there's poor management running it. So a lot of the strategy for buying real estate is finding the deal, then evaluating the deal, getting the funding for the deal, but then once you close, bringing that deal to fruition and making it actually produce the checks you want it to do is all about management. Management's really the forgotten about entity for some people that are just getting started because they focus so much on getting into the deal, they are not focused enough on finding a viable property manager that has integrity, that's willing to help them implement a business plan and make it a solid property that produces cash flow and produces the long-term wealth you're looking for. Okay, so search criteria for where you want to be in, and then property managers that can run the asset. Then there's other team members that you need to consider. Okay, now everything goes state by state, so each state has different laws, each state has different governing rules, each state has different landlord rules, each state has different ways that they convey real estate. So what you need first and foremost is a really good lawyer in the town, in the state, and sometimes in the county or in the town that you want to be in. Like we bought a property in North Carolina, we had to have a lawyer in the county. He couldn't be in the state. He had to be able to go to the local county clerk's office and file docs for that closing for us. So he had to be in the county, not just in the state. So try and find someone that's local enough to the market that you guys want to be in. Okay? Now, from other team members, like I said, you need to have your boots, okay? And your manager, okay? That's part of your team too. Just to be clear on what I mean by boots, I mean boots is probably somebody who has a little bit of equity alongside you, or is financially benefiting from the deal somehow. Maybe a realtor, maybe someone who's going to be maintaining the properties when you're done, or somebody that is willing to go out and take a look at a property for you. So every time you find a deal, you don't have to put yourself on an airplane to go out there and check it out. Okay. So other team members play into this. Like I said, there's the boots, the manager, maybe like a local broker, a realtor. Maintenance, if the management company's not doing the maintenance for you, find a local maintenance team. And this team goes on and on and on. Bottom line is as many people as you can get connected with in that market as possible that you can leverage as a team, okay? These are the conversations you need to have with yourself. And obviously the last one is the money. If it's a smaller deal and you want to find a local small community bank that's willing to fund the property for you, that's probably your best bet and the cheapest money you're going to find. They need to trust you. They need to be willing to do business with somebody, because we had somebody who was looking to buy a property right here in New Jersey, and the local bank we introduced them to didn't like that they lived out of state. They were from Denver looking to buy a property in New Jersey, and the local bank wouldn't work with them because they wanted them to be living in the state. They wanted them to be more local than investing from across multiple states like that. So you got to find money that's willing to fund that deal for you, and whether that's a national lender or a local lender, which is probably going to give you a better rate than a national lender was, but the local lender's got to be willing to deal with you. Find the money that's willing to fund the deal. All these things you have to do before you go and start looking at properties. Okay, this is the path to success that I've seen, is having a lot of this in place, because the way the market's moving so fast right now, that if you find a good deal, it's not going to stick around but for a couple of days before it's under contract by somebody who knows what they're looking at, right? So you need to build this team first. I know we're all aggressive. We all want to get in. We all want to find a deal and start making money and everything like that. But the way that you ensure that a deal is successful is by getting your search criteria down, picking one to three markets you want to do in, find some local boots. You can consult on BiggerPockets for other factors that people use for considering a market. Local jobs is one that we do, and there's other ones that we use and other ones that other people can give you advice on. Finding a local management company, big team, the biggest team you can build, and then find money that'll deal in that town for you. Okay. Now, there's other factors. For those of you guys that invest out of state, I'd love to hear from you on what factors, things you're doing before you find a deal, before you close on that deal, or advice you have for people that are looking at deals for the first time out of state. What advice do you guys have if you guys have done this before? And obviously ask as many questions as you guys want, and we'll hop into a great conversation. That's what I got for you today, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great profitable week.